6:20, and it's fortified choco milk. It's made from the finest cocoa from this country, yeah, where we make the best cocoa in the world. There's no argument about that one. It has rich malt, and it's the perfect beverage for your mornings or any time at all of the day, full of proteins and vitamins, and it just gives you great energy. I'm talking about Cowbell Gold Energy for Winners, proud to bring you the breakfast review, which kicks off right now.
Breakfast Review is brought to you by Cowbell Gold, Energy for Winners.
My guests, I have the Member of Parliament for the wonderful people of Wassa East in the Western region, the former Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, the Honorable Isaac Ejay-Mensah. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
And sitting next to him is a member of the communication team for the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Kofi Amayo. Good morning.
Sir.
Good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
It's been a long time. It's good to see you.
I know, right?
Yes, yes.
It's been a very busy week for us last week because we had to go to Kufojua for our 26th annual delegate conference.
All right.
We elected executives that we believe will ensure that we maintain power. I am glad with the new crop of executives that we have elected. I have faith in them, and I'm of the greatest conviction that the NPP will indeed become the party of the nation. With this new leadership we have, if you have Uncle JB, John Boadu, Samia Wuku, Freddie Blay, you have Nana B also coming on board, KJ Fua, FF Anto still in there, Abankwa also still in there, Madam Rita is also in there, Omari Wadia is still in there. So they are in for trouble, the NDC. Of course, they've admitted it, indeed. And Futa as well.
The man is firing shots even before you started. Are you intimidated by this roll call of executives at the New Patriotic Party?
You're just trying to. I know them all. I'm surprised saying that NDC is in trouble. What is the trouble? You're in the political game. I don't see any trouble in that. Let's pray that they will form the team that they think they will form, and then we see how it works. But I think that they obviously have serious challenges for some of the people that I know, and he knows it anyway. So we pray. We pray that they perform.
We missed your solidarity message. What happened? I was waiting with bated breath to hear solidarity message.
Unfortunately, we couldn't attend.
Okay.
The General Secretary gave a response to that. He wasn't able to contact the General Secretary, Mr. Boadu, but of course gave information to the Vice President. We are bereaved.
Yes, indeed. So the whole country.
These are in bad times, so we couldn't attend.
Okay.
So some of us were monitoring from far.
Okay.
And, I think it went well.
Okay.
And I congratulate them.
All right. Okay. Let's start with a collaboration that is being announced in the papers. Daily Graphic payroll audit begins next week. Special Prosecutor and Auditor General to collaborate. There's a picture there on the front page of the Daily Graphic of Messrs. Amidu and Domelevo, who are featuring on a couple of the front pages of the papers. I'll just read a little bit of the story. So the AG, the Auditor General's Department, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor are collaborating to audit the payroll of the entire public service. So there are issues of ghost names which have bedeviled government payroll for years, even though they've been cleansing and cleaning their payroll through the deletion of thousands of these names. So they are collaborating with support from the Ministry of Finance and the World Bank to go through this exercise. They're going to start from the central region, just next to your region, Mr. Ejay-Mensah, and they are asking all the heads of department to cooperate with the audit by providing all documents required for the exercise. So what do you make of this, Honorable MP? I mean, this collaboration between the Special Prosecutor's Office and the Auditor General to just make sure that our payroll, I mean, is cleansed. Yeah.
Very big issue. But of course, before I do, give an opportunity to give my warm regards to the very good people of Wassa East.
Indeed. Indeed.
They have made me who am I today.
Yes.
And of course, our charity viewers and indeed the NDC fraternity. Today I'm representing them here. This is a big issue. The Auditor General has a responsibility to do this as enshrined in the Constitution. But that is not the only thing to do. The payroll, I'm told that all of areas relating to the MDAs, issues relating to taxation and many more. But I think the payroll is also very critical. Payroll, as you know, relates to the pay for our workers and so on and so forth. So when there are issues relating to those areas, then it's very critical. Some time back, we had challenges there And my understanding is that the gift mix, there was a program that was brought to bring everything on board so that you could check it out. I'm surprised that we've not been able to make significant headway. So if the entity or the agency that's responsible for this is doing it, I support it. I hope that it will not be just one day wonder. We pursue it and make sure that it works and works very well. Ghana is not too big a country. And so if you're not able to fix this payroll issues, then it's a worry. You go to Nigeria, for instance, you go to America, people in public service work and they are paid. And programs and stuff are there to make sure that they need to fix very well. But ghost names are a problem. So my worry is that why do we still have ghost names in our books? If anyone is to exit, either by death, by death or termination and so on, processes are there to make sure that their names are expunged. Unfortunately, we have this in our system that dead people still have their names in the books, and it's worrying. And certainly it hinges on corruption, because if you're not able to get this out, people who are dead several years back, somehow
are still earning money.
For their, the worry is that, so who take all these monies? But the guy is gone, but they still take the monies, and so on. Others have left the job, gone to another job, but they still have their names there. So I think that we need to ensure that we need to give the appropriate capacities to those who work there. But the most important thing is that let's make sure that we wipe up all those things. But the appropriate training and guidance should be given them.
Okay.
And so I think it's a good step, and I support it. And I hope that it's not going to end. This is not the first time we are hearing this. I'm informed there are certified programs like GiftMix, and GiftMix is able to, I think is an HR program or HR software that will bring sanity into our payroll system.
Okay.
So
you are for it, I mean, in principle.
I support it.
So the BNFT also deals with the same topic, but they couch it this way: new dawn in fight against corruption. You alluded to the lessening of corruption if this is done. So Auditor General, Special Prosecutor joining forces. 2% of Ghana's population will be affected by this. We have 600,000 workers on government payroll, which is 2% of the population. Kofi, what are your thoughts on this one?
First of all, we need to admit that the wage bill is one of the many things that is killing this country, is stalling development. Because when you look at the budget, about 68 billion that was budgeted for 2018, about 21% of that amount goes into salaries and wages. And if you also recall that we went to IMF for a bailout on April 15, 2015, because of the fact that our wage bill was too much. And there are three components with regards to how we spend our money in this country. That is salaries and wages, amortization, and all of that, debt financing and all of that. That's about 99.6% of how much we receive, our tax revenue. So clearly, even if you look at the 2018 budget and any other budget, you realize the wage bill alone, the percentage is huge, more than even the CAPEX, the capital expenditure, and even goods and services expenditure. So clearly, at the end of the day, you see that as a country, we just use all our money in consumption. We just pay salaries and wages, and the rest, we have to go and borrow money to even embark on infrastructure and all of that. So the infrastructure deficit and gap you see is as a result of the fact that we have not been able to manage, this system very well. And I am glad, and of course, I do agree with Honorable that this is not the first time we are attempting to fix the system. I recall sometime in 2012 in Marriott Hotel, New York, when President John Dramani Mahama was addressing the people over there, he made mention of the fact that steps are being taken to address these ghost names. When we came to power, we also made mention of the fact that we need to address this ghost name issue, to the extent that we said we have done some to some extent, but still we can clearly see this situation is still there, this problem is still there. I believe moving forward, it's time we formalize the economy, we digitize the economy to ensure that these things do not occur. For example, how come somebody will be working, the person doesn't work there, and the salaries will be coming for a very long time? Somebody is dead, and we can't have a system that will take the person out and all of that. The way forward is to ensure that as a country we have a database that will be able to collate and be able to also identify that this person is unique I'm talking about a unique identification for everybody, so that when this person is working, there cannot be a way that another identification will be used for, another system to ensure that we pay those people. So clearly, it's a matter of making sure we formalize the economy, we digitize the economy to ensure that at the end of the day, we can uniquely identify individuals who are working and all of that.
Okay.
And the reason why I believe the special prosecutor is also coming in is that it also has a criminal connotation to it. Because when you receive double salary, it's also a form of crime or that sort of thing. And I know to a very large extent, these issues do happen because of people are deliberately taking money from the system that are not due them. So it has a criminal component to it. So when we have this combo, this combination of the Auditor General and the Special Prosecutor, I believe it will instill some fear moving forward, that when you make your actions or inactions result in a situation where the government will be losing money, you'll be punished, punitive measures will be taken to ensure that we are able to take care of this situation. So it's extremely important looking at our expenditure and our revenue vis-a-vis the wage bill. We need to reduce the wage bill moving forward so that we can be able to get enough money. Because when you look at the promises that we have made to the good people of this country, a lot of them are going to be financed by our own money. We are not going to rely on, foreign aids and all of that. And we're also talking about Ghana beyond aid. Ghana can go beyond the age when we are able to manage our own resources. We are able to manage our own money and all of that. So I am for it, and I believe it's a great step.
Okay, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Wassa East, is it really a new dawn in the fight against corruption? I mean, as the Business and Financial Times is painting it, is it a new dawn? Really?
It's not. It's certainly not. I think that it is a step forward in fighting corruption with the creation of the Special Prosecutor Office. The expectation is that we will add more energy into fighting corruption. And rightly, that as she did say, the wage bill is huge. And you see, workers do complain that I'm not paid well, we are not paid, and so on. So if all these slippages, all these issues related to payroll fraud and all those are there, then it's worrying. It's been a concern all over the place in the past and now. So when we have the Special Prosecutor coming in, I think that it is good. It will add some more energy and bring some sanity into that. People have to be punished. Because if you get into all these fraudulent issues, you just don't go free.
Okay.
If there is that mindset that if I do wrong thing and I'm going to be punished, and indeed punished, we don't want to do that. But that does not mean that we don't have to pay workers well, and so it's always about economy. When we do well, then we have, in terms of productivity, we have enough to pay our workers, our people.
All right.
So whilst we are checking all those slippages of those corrupt practices, we also want to ensure the economy must be reasonably developed and improved to be able to pay.
Okay.
It is the ability to pay that the worker can be satisfied.
All right.
So whilst we are trying to check these slippages and all these fraudulent issues there, we must also do well, and that is where the government needs to be up and come and make sure that the economy has to be fixed. And my understanding is that in the international world, the growth of the economy is a certain, but we don't feel it, we don't see it. So get the economy fixed, and the issues relating to workers' pay will also be fixed.
Okay.
The issue of productivity is important. The worker thinks that the pay will have to be increased. How do we increase your pay when productivity is challenged? So when we have systems in place, the ordinary guy in the public servant or those in the private sector, they are prepared to work. The guy comes to work, but he must make sure, or there should be the opportunity for him to work to improve productivity. But again, you want to check the slippages and all those fraudulent, payroll stuff and fix it.
Kofi, I'll just bring you last point on this. So fine, it's nice. The Special Prosecutor is collaborating with the Auditor General. But honestly speaking, when will the board be constituted for the Special Prosecutor? When will he be fully resourced to do his work? It's fine to make statements, but the man must be resourced. If there's no board, he can't work.
He will be resourced.
When?
He will be resourced. You see, I've realized one thing in this country. We are very quick in bringing out, establishing, bringing up an institution, erecting buildings, factories, and all of that, then eventually you see those institutions not really functioning as they were supposed to, or even factories not working as they were supposed to. We need to be patient. I understand and I do appreciate that we have a lot of challenges.
It's a matter of appointing people to serve as the board. That's all. There's no building, there's no blocks, there's no cement, nothing.
A lot more
just
goes
people.
into it when you live in a society where it's hard to identify an individual. When you live in a society where you can't even use forensics to detect crime and all of that, it's hard to do all of these things, in a manner that will serve the.
Is that why the president is taking too long to name a board?
No,
you can't find the right people.
It's not about the board. As for naming the nomenclature, it's fine, but the effectiveness of the people who come on board, the effectiveness of the system, how we'll be able to structure the system to ensure that at the end of the day, when they start their work, it will be more efficient and more effective. We cannot continue to live in a system where we'll bring up an institution that at the end of the day, the functions for which they were supposed to do their job are limited, or they can't do. Eventually they become dormant. Eventually, they just become just a name existing.
Just quickly, what is he working on right now, the special prosecutor?
A lot of things. And
name one.
We have to make sure the members that will be on the board are accepted by both halves.
Meaning he's not working on any case yet?
Oh, well, I can't say that. I don't work with him. And
you just said that he's working on a lot of things.
Of course, a lot of things with regards to, and more so, he's working on crimes. And a lot of the things that he does are more or less, security in nature.
Really?
So, of course. So we need to give him the benefit of that. We know the caliber of person we have appointed as the special prosecutor.
He's not a CID guy who is doing special investigation. He's a special prosecutor.
His work involves working together with all the agencies to ensure that at the end of the day, we tackle corruption in this country. I'm pleading with you and the entire people of this country that the man will work. We need to exercise patience.
Will work means he's not working now.
Oh, he will work to the expectation that you want to see him in action. You want to see him. You see, a lot of these works are not done in the public. BNI, Yoko, and all these agencies. It isn't that they are not doing anything. Most of the time, you hear of them when there's a big issue. But trust me, they are doing a lot of work. I have a few friends who work with the national security and all of that, and I know the kind of job they do. They do a lot of work, except that they don't come public with all of the things that they do. But trust me, at the end of the day, all that we want to see is corruption being tackled in this country.
Okay,
and we will move forward.
All right, let's move to the Today paper.
But I think that we are concerned. The special prosecutor must be resourced. It's long overdue. So I think the earlier the government does that better, because the euphoria surrounding special prosecutor.
What can Parliament do to ensure that the man is resourced?
No, we've done everything. We've passed the law, the law and everything. I mean, it's now up to the government to resource the special prosecutor. I should think that is happening, but people want to see the board must be formed. I think overheard some news somewhere that there are steps for the board to be inaugurated or whatever. It has to be done. People are waiting to see that happen. I think the man is full of energy and he wants to work. So, but
raring to go.
So the government must provide the resources and what it takes for it to happen. I think the talk is too much. Let's get into action.
Okay. Will it be done this year, Kofi?
Of course. You see, indeed, I support the argument that a lot of talking have been going on. But at the same time, I want to assure the good people of this country that the man we have as a president is an action man. When he says it, he will deliver. Let's be rest assured that his commitment to fight corruption is solid. His commitment to fight corruption hasn't gone anywhere, and that the special prosecutor will do what is necessary to ensure that at the end of the day, corruption in this country is fought with every arsenal we have.
Okay, so my guest here, Kofi Ameyaw, is on the communication team of the New Patriotic Party, and sitting next to him is the Honourable Member of Parliament for Wassa East, Mr. Isaac J. Mensah. Looking at the stories in the papers, collaboration between the Auditor General and the Special Prosecutor's Office. And I'm looking at today's Today newspaper. Assemblies blow almost 41 million cedis in 2017. So the Auditor General, he's in the news, Daniel Domolovo, has revealed that some officials within the various district assemblies mismanaged almost 41 million cedis of District Assembly Common Fund. According to him, the mismanagement of the fund was followed by deficiencies in operations of the assembly. So not only are they blowing the money, but they're not really doing the work to the expectation of how it should be done. And he's also asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to institute measures to deal with these deficiencies. So how does this work? I mean, as an MP, how does the money get? Who checks these people? Because you have some level of collaboration with the district assemblies, don't you?
I think that you have the structures. The structures are there. We just have to let it work. One of the things that I think that it is good to think about is building the capacity of the staff of the assemblies. There's so much expectation, huge, of course, expectation on them to perform. The common fund is one of the areas that brings money for development, in the district. Apart from that, we have the IGF, the revenue generation and so on.
Internally generated funds.
Exactly. But you see, we need to build the capacity. Some of the districts, of course, the municipalities and the metros do have, so-called qualified people and so on. But in small districts,
you don't have them.
I think the capacity is an issue. And so I think that we need to build the capacity of the assemblies. Make sure that they have the resources as well.
So is it training them to be able to do simple budgets and
but giving the capacity building is the training and also and so on and so forth. But you also want to give them the resources also to perform. 41 million blown. I'm not sure whether it's been misapplied or embezzled. But my understanding from what you're saying, I've not read it.
It's a lot of money.
My understanding is that some of the monies are there. They are not spending, or it's been misapplied and so on and so forth. So it dovetails into the capacity of the people that we have. And it's not happening in all districts. I think that some are doing it, some are not. So the drive should be with the ministry to ensure to build the capacity of the staff, that people who are posted to the district. It's worrying. Some of the districts, in my district is a new district, not a new district, of course, was since 1989, 1990. It's one of the underprivileged districts because the population is not too huge enough, the economic activities there are not too good enough to bring a lot of revenue. But whatever it is, there's so much that we can do in trying to make sure that the little resources that we have are put into proper use. You get a common fund, you make sure that we apply them as they're supposed to be applied. So I think building the capacity of the staff and leadership there is very, very critical. And I encourage the ministry to pursue those programs that we have. We have several programs there that go to empower and also to train or to give all it takes for them to perform. So yes, it's good that we've seen that there's been either embezzlement or some blown, as you said, some money's in there. It's huge sums of money. But I think that while we are trying to check it, let's build the capacity of the staff there to perform.
Okay, Kofi, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this detracts from what government really wants to do, right? Protect the public purse, because this is public purse.
Of course.
District purse is public purse.
Our commitment was to plug loopholes, plug leakages in the system, because that is the surest way of ensuring that we get enough money or revenue to embark on the many promises that we've made to the good people of this country. That is one. I believe that supervision with regards to how we spend money in government institutions is very poor. Most often than not, you realize that it has to take a year or a couple of months before we do an audit and all of that. Moving forward, we have a lot of software in the system that will be able to check, what expenditure are you using this money to spend on and all of that. When it's something that is done regularly or, on daily basis or weekly basis, I believe it will be able to help this issue, because when he will get the opportunity to be audited in about 6 months or quarterly or even a year, there's opportunity, he has that latitude, to mismanage or misapply the funds. And then eventually some of them, when there's an expenditure for which they are supposed to use the money for, they will use it for their personal, thing, hoping and believing that they have enough time to recoup the profit or the plowback, so that at the end of the day, they'll be able to bring it back into the system. That is one. Two, I also believe that moving forward, What we need to do as a people is to ensure that we put punitive measures in place and ensure that when you misapply funds, really people will be punished, because most of the time when you hear the public account committee sittings and all of that, people will misapply the fund and you don't hear anybody being punished or anybody sent to jail and all of that. That is one. And I also believe moving forward, what we can do to ensure that these things are kept will be one, the election of the DCs is very important and critical.
But it's not happening anytime soon, is it?
Well, and also,
the president promised
that's why I say moving forward. I believe there are certain districts, municipals and metropolitans that do not need, money from the government. They should be able to raise their own funds to take care of the district or the municipal or metropolitan. There are certain districts, because of less economic activities, government needs to cushion them, as it were. But moving forward, I believe government needs to identify areas where they can economically, raise funds, economically independent, so that government will not necessarily be sending money that hitherto could have been used for something else.
Okay.
So the elections of the DC will, to a large extent, solve this issue of corruption, because you'll be mandated, you'll be encouraged to raise your own funds to develop the district, because you'll be going for the next elections and you need to do something with regards to an achievement. Okay. That will suggest that, okay, when I was there, I was able to do this by my own.
And your destiny is in the hands of the people who can take you out. Quickly, we don't have too much time.
Quickly. So the last point I want to raise, you see, when you go to the United States, you realize the state takes care of the state, and then the federal will come in when it's needed. We need to start doing these things.
But we're not federal.
I understand, but gradually we need to kind of bring in these policies to ensure that we make the district, municipal and metropolitans very independent, especially economically, to ensure that they raise their own funds to take care of their own district, to take care of their own developmental agendas. And
that's why we are surprised the president hasn't started the moves to make the...
We have.
No, we should have been done by now.
We have.
You have.
We need a referendum and all of that.
Okay, all right.
That takes time.
Okay.
That was worrying, because it's one of the promises, the key promises of the government, and it's clear it's not been met.
It's been shelved,
and so it's worrying. I think that we need to know that Ghana is a unitary state, a small country, and decentralization is ongoing, and we need to give value and reality or finality properly to decentralization. So if this government would be a bit more serious, I think the things will work.
Okay.
We still need to put the government on his toes that you gave us a promise to elect DCs and whatever. It's not happening. And when is that going to happen? They keep giving us promises and so on and so forth. Electing the DCs alone will not do the trick. It's our people. We want to make sure the structures in place are implemented, give the appropriate support and structures for it to happen.
Okay, quick point before we end this segment. So, front page Ghanaian Times, and this is my last story. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice will launch investigations into activities of the chairman of the new Patriotic Party, Mr. Freddie Blay, if it establishes allegations of corruption leveled against him. Does your party support this move? We have,
in a minority, we have requested that, forensic audit to be instituted quickly in Ghana, the National Petroleum Corporation, because Freddie Blay is the chairman.
Board chairman.
But we are worried. So whatever it happens to ensure that the right things are done, why not? I do support. Because what he's done, or what is happening here with this government, is that the issue of, heighten the perception of corruption is there, in a country where we have challenges even buying beds and so forth, hospitals and clinics, buying ambulances, and you see, a chairman having the capacity to provide so much for his people. Nobody is saying that if you have money, don't do what you want to do. But if you're a public officer, he is a public officer. So whatever it takes for Shraj to get in there, we support it. We have requested, of course, written to the minority in Parliament, that the president must ensure that there is, inquisition in there and make sure that the right thing is done, the forensic audit.
Kofi, is this a threat to the fabulous team you were telling us about that were elected over the weekend? And do you reject the claims of vote buying, using these buses to buy the votes of the support?
I was the spokesperson for Stephen Ntim's campaign, and this issue came up. And we said, in principle, we believe in resourcing the grassroots of the party, the constituency level. We need to make them economically independent to take care of itself. It's a long way to making sure that...
Why resource them just before the election? Why not resource it when it's not an election around? There's no election around
the elections are over.
No,
So
the resourcing was done just before the election.
No, the issue is
the buses landed before the election.
The elections are over.
But the issues remain.
He wants to know.
No, at the end of the day, let's go into what Sraj will be investigating. Where did he get the money from?
Why didn't the promises come after the election?
The elections are over.
Buses. No, but this was a key part of the election.
The elections are over.
Kofi,
like I said, I spoke with
the buses landed at the Tema port a week before the election. And it was all over the news. Blade buses have arrived. That is how it was reported.
At the end of the day, we want to know where you got the money from.
What's your impression about that?
Honorable, please. We want to know where you got the money from to be able to resource the constituency. We all agree. Honorable will agree that it's important that his constituency is being resourced. We've availed ourselves just like we have always availed ourselves.
I don't agree to that.
As a government and as a political party, that if anybody feels that something has been done untoward, the institutions are there, they can go there for the
investigation. So you support the probe by Sraj to investigate?
Of course, we do. As a political party, we do. As a government, we do. As individuals,
team, I remember in teams.
So at the end of the day, the elections are over. Let the institutions.
But the team wasn't very happy about the buses arriving.
The elections are over.
You're telling me the obvious. I know the elections are over, but there are issues too.
Yes, that's why the institutions are taking care of it. So if he did anything untoward, it will be unraveled. So moving back, I believe, and we the team, we believe in principle that resourcing the party is very important.
Would your team have done the same? Would you have bought buses for the electorate just before the election?
You see, in 2004, 17 bought vehicles for the regional offices, and the 4 other vehicles went to the constituencies and all of that. So clearly, we believe in resourcing the party. Any way it will empower them.
But the concern, I think, it was that it was an inducement. And so why would you want to do this when you get into elections?
Did you reject the vote buying claim?
Kafui, I am of the greatest opinion that even the procurement of the buses did not inure to the benefit of Freddie Blade.
All right, we'll leave it here. I'm sure these issues will rumble on and on. Kofi Ameyao speaks for the MPP, he's part of the communication team, and the honorable member of Wassa East in the wonderful region of West Region was here with us, Mr. Isaac Ejay-Mensah, former Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Wish you a good day.
Same to you.
And the show continues. We're talking arts and culture right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.